Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm Martin Clunes. In the news this week, the latest AI humanoid goes home after experiencing its first happy hour at Wetherspoons. Following sweeping welfare reforms, there are fears the government's new fitness to work assessment could be too physically challenging. And as Donald Trump's trade policy collapses into chaos, government economists in the Heard and McDonald Islands frantically try to make sense of it all. On Ian's team tonight is a comedian and actor who played Noah's son in the BBC drama The Ark, telling the biblical story of when humanity was on the brink of total disaster. But of course, he can put all that behind him now. Please welcome Ian Smith. On Paul's team tonight is a journalist and broadcaster who says the greatest privilege in journalism is to go to places, witness history and write it down. And tell that to the poor sod who's following Ed Davies' campaign trail. Please welcome Helen Lewis. And so we begin with the biggest stories of the week. Ian and Ian, here's yours.
Hooray, the world's going to end. That's HS2.
That's the Chinese telling Trump where he can go.
Bit of smoke.
That's how slow car production is now in the UK.
The trouble is, anything could have happened by the time we go out. Or indeed by the time I finish this sentence. His reactions change so rapidly that, you know, the story's gone. And all his supporters have to justify it, which is the good bit. Because they say, Trump's going to stand firm, he's not going to change, he's got a spine, he's not going to buckle. Oh, he's gone. And then they say it was his plan all along.
Yeah.
They had this thing a couple of weeks ago when the new phrase was trust in Trump until somebody pointed out what the initials stand for. Stop saying it. Stop saying it.
And whenever I hear it now, I think it's President Truss, because he's done the same thing.
Yes.
He was claiming his tariff splurge was working right up until Wednesday. Let's have a look.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
Oh.
How has he got his hair so rectangular there? It's like he's done it in a jelly mould or something.
I think that's evening hair to go with.
When I heard him talk about Liberation Day, I kept thinking it was Liberace Day. He's incredibly camp and he's got small hands and he's really bitchy.
He would love that, though.
Sorry, I thought I just saw Ian attempting to impersonate Liberace.
Sorry, Mr. Merton, it's time to take you away now.
It is. The world's turned upside down.
Honestly, to boast about other countries coming and crawling to you and kissing arse. I mean, yes, he is an arse, but...
It's really frustrating for us as well, because we kissed his arse before anyone else did. That was all we had to brag, is that we were on 10%. Now everyone's on 10%.
Yeah.
Could have at least put us on, like, 9.5, isn't it?
Yeah, the bloody Penguins are on 10% and they didn't even offer up their king.
Yeah. But the Penguins are wearing suits.
Thank you very much. Anybody know how Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, described his tough negotiating stance?
Didn't she say it was the art of the deal?
She said, President Trump has a spine of steel and he will not break. And a few hours later, do you know what Trump said?
25% on steel.
You have to have flexibility.
It was just totally incoherent.
I think, but he's taking credit for reversing one of the most catastrophic decisions in the history of the American presidency.
Yeah, it's like the fireman who comes in and says, OK, I set fire to the place, but look, I'm putting it out now.
I wonder how Liberace would deal with a house. I wonder what that would look like. Your house is on fire.
And now I'm watching you two live.
Yeah. And nobody recognised who it was.
Do you know how his team put a spin on his blinking, Paul?
Liberace? I've no idea. Oh, no, they just thought, they said, oh, it's probably... They come up with all this nonsense about how he's some genius or something instead of having the intelligence of a brick. He plays fourth-dimensional chess or something, somebody said at one point.
According to one Trump insider, some people seem to think Trump's playing chess, when most of the time the staff are just trying to stop him from eating the pieces. Do you know who might be getting out of the US before things get too tough?
The entire population.
It's Percy Pig. Percy's handlers, Marks and Spencers, are worried that bags of gelatinous chew will break the $4 mark and stop the Americans buying them. So they're thinking of pulling Percy out. I did that at a party once, and I still regret it. Moving on. The equation for working out the tariffs has been ridiculed as childish. How did Trump's team try and enhance the credibility of their calculations?
They put Greek letters in it on the basis that looks kind of fancy.
They did. Let's have a look. Yeah. Which is either a very complex formula or the name of Elon Musk's youngest.
They've actually put President Xi's name in.
I know.
Xi minus
Me?
I mean, you say Trump and Xi, I'm sure it's just a coincidence there's also two arseholes in there.
Ian, here's a question for you.
Which Ian?
What?
You.
Oh,
Any will do.
Yeah.
we should have nicknames. Have you ever had a nickname?
I have.
The accused.
Yeah.
What's a pannikin?
Well, yesterday I Googled what is a tariff, so I don't think I've...
It's one of Trump's jokes.
Is it a panicking Republican?
There you go. In his own words, it's a new party based on weak and stupid people.
Which he isn't leading, to be clear.
It's meant to be a play on the word Republican. It doesn't work on any level. Do you want to hear another Trump joke?
Yeah, go on. Well, I don't think I've heard one yet, but go on.
White House gardeners have had to cut down a magnolia tree planted by President Andrew Jackson around 1830. And it was replaced with a new sapling, which Trump has called the magnolia tree. You see? The 200-year-old magnolia tree that replaced has seen a lot of presidential history. Andrew Jackson planted it, FDR sat in its shade, and Joe Biden walked into it 8 times. The Republican whip, Tom Emmer, speaking at a Republican dinner, summed up how everyone's feeling about Trump now.
President Trump is counting on it.
So this is Donald Trump's pause in tariffs for everyone but China. Trump's tariffs policy has been strongly defended by the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. Apparently the only other candidate for the job was Ron Take-It and Bob Leggett. Some of the highest tariffs have been imposed on Vietnam, Cambodia and Thailand, threatening the jobs of millions of children. The UK is now considering putting tariffs on US products, including American toilet seats. Apparently they're number 2 export. Paul and Helen, here's yours.
Yes, this is a man dressed as a rat. This is the sad situation in Birmingham at the moment. Oh, there's a 1928 cartoon suggesting that the rats are pouring into Birmingham, which they are. So, yes, this has been going on now. How long is it, a month?
A month now, yeah, and they declared is it not a state of emergency? Is probably overselling it slightly, but they certainly invoked emergency powers.
Major incident.
There we go.
January, I think it started.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
It's been going on for quite a while. Yes, it's all a bit serious, isn't it? It's
Covered in 23,000 tonnes of festering rubbish. But on the plus side, Only Fools and Horses, the musical's on at the Birmingham Hippodrome.
Someone suggested they should bring in the army. It does sound like the beginning of one of those adverts where they say, if you can collect a bin, you can drive a tank.
Yeah.
Collecting rubbish isn't actually as straightforward as you might think, at least not judging by this man. According to The Sun, the streets were being invaded by rats the size of cats. The I newspaper said locals had reported seeing rats the size of cats. And you guessed it, the Daily Mail said the city was being overrun by rats the size of baby monkeys.
They just need to send in cats the size of dogs.
Let's take a look at how agency bin men, drafted in to replace those on strike, reacted when they saw a rat. Here comes the big one. Go on, my son. Wes Streeting has said that the situation needs to be resolved as people's health is now at risk. Did anybody hear him on Radio 4's Today programme this week? Oh. Here he is, shedding some light on a major issue of the day in an interview with Nick Robinson.
Forgive me, this has been turning into a party election broadcast before, and I want to ask you some questions, if I may.
No, it's not.
There are
it's
still shortages of
people
doctors,
on what we're actually,
let's report back
doing.
on the reality. Is there a shortage of...
It's important that we do report back on what we're actually doing.
So that's cleared that up. So this is the news that the streets of Birmingham are piled high with rat-infested bin bags blocking pavements. In fact, it's so bad that Lenny Henry can't get out of his Premier Inn. The Mail Online gave this graphic illustration of how bad the rat problem is. It's not the best way to sell a glove on eBay, is it?
People who like this item also like
Yes, there's time now for round two.
Oh, yes.
And with the news that overfishing may lead to a shortage of mackerel, what better time to employ the fishing rod of news?
Yes.
Fingers on buzzers, teams.
Yep. Well, the float doesn't even match the one that you've got there. Universal, they're going to build a big sort of like a multi-acre park in Bedford, somewhere near Luton Airport. It's going to take 6 years to build, but it's going to create 28,000 jobs.
Keir Starmer tried to make a joke. He said, when people said getting into politics would be a roller coaster, I didn't think they meant like this.
Jesus Christ.
He also said it's going to put Bedford on the map. Which is news to maps, I think.
What do you get there?
The Guardian suggested the park could feature a Minions-themed ride called the Loop-de-doo-deep. Doop-dee.
Do you know what you're saying?
No, just reading out this collection of letters.
Yeah.
It's annoying that we're going to have a Minions-themed roller coaster before HS2's completed. I read an article that said one of Universal's biggest films was Oppenheimer. If you want an Oppenheimer theme park, just nuke Bedford.
They're expecting 8.5 million visitors in the first year. Here's an artist's impression of what the park will look like.
I don't want to alarm you, but one of the bits at the top of it is on fire.
The BBC News went down there to have a look. Let's see how the builders are getting on.
Yes, I'm standing on the site. As you can see, there's a big pile of bricks behind me. I'm standing in some brick rubble.
The Tourism Minister, Chris Bryant, responded to the news by saying, "This will be absolutely transformational for the British tourism industry if we manage to pull it off." What's the particularly good news for the locals of Bedford?
Jobs.
A train station?
They haven't promised that, but they have promised a dedicated slip road off the A41. As local MP Chris Curtis said, they say dreams only come true in Hollywood, but soon you will just need to take the A421 to Bedford. And whilst we're on the subject of the A421, does anybody know what its claim to fame is? It was once the location of the fastest speeding incident ever recorded by British police when a man from Leamington Spa was filmed travelling at 157 miles per hour on the Tingewick bypass.
Was he in a car?
In other news, what was Boris Johnson filmed doing with an ostrich this week? No.
Are you going to show it?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, Christ!
Really, some people never forget Brexit.
Let's hope that ostrich has had its jabs.
His wife posted that.
It's called a vendetta.
Last week we had footage of a woman being attacked by an ostrich, and do you think they've sort of just copied that idea?
Oh, yes, come on, Carrie, let's go and find an ostrich and do a funny clip.
Yeah.
We'll go viral.
Yeah, this'll get me back as Prime Minister.
Do you think he put a bag of sort of nuts and seeds in his lap in an attempt to make...
Not for the first time. That's how he did it.
Yeah.
Half a box of trill down there.
Yeah.
It says, get your rod out. Here we go. Fingers on buzzers, teams. There it goes.
The King and Queen have visited Rome, and that's the Colosseum. They were disappointed to find out that no shows are happening that day. They haven't happened for a few hundred years.
And he got to meet the Pope as well, which was quite something.
It's a big 20th wedding anniversary present, meeting the Pope. That's what they were out there for, 20th wedding anniversary. Usually 20th is China, but the tariffs are so high now.
Very good.
They met Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister.
They walked past some massive guards. Real whoppers. Look at this. Look at them. Loads of them.
There was incredible video footage of them listening to the national anthem from behind a hedge. Do you have that? I mean, they look like a sort of naughty seaside postcard. You can just see the top of them peeking over. It's delightful.
We do have that clip.
Could be a topiary tribute.
Do you think they forgot to get dressed or something?
Yes.
They just said, quick, get on the balcony now!
King Charles presented Italy's President Mattarella with the Knight Grand Cross of the Order of the Bath. And Camilla was given a margherita pizza.
Which is named after Queen Margherita of Italy. I think a lot of the pizzas are named after royals, like Prince Sloppy Giuseppe. But it's weird seeing a royal have a pizza, I think.
Why?
You're thinking of Prince Andrew?
The King also enjoyed another visit recently. The London Vegetable Orchestra came to see him at Windsor Castle.
Yes.
And he played the carrot.
He did.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that.
Yeah. One is reminded of Keir Starmer's relationship with Donald Trump.
He's game, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
How many other heads of state would play a carrot?
Yeah, if you presented Donald Trump with a hollowed-out aubergine, he wouldn't get a tune out of it. And that's why Britain is still great.
Yeah.
This is the royal visit to Rome. The Queen told reporters that the secret to a lasting marriage was laughing at the same thing. Like Meghan's new Netflix show. During their state visit, the King and Queen had an audience with His Holiness at the Vatican, although there was an awkward moment when Camilla nipped out for a fag and the crowd thought they'd elected a new pope. Time now for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week. Your four are a hawk in Flamstead, a pilot flying from LA to Shanghai, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, and a Tunnock's tea cake.
The hawk has been attacking people.
Yeah.
Apparently.
He attacked the same man twice, didn't he, and stole his hat.
I come from the north. I once saw a man throw a pigeon at another man like a weapon. Just as a side note.
So, come on, what's the odd one out?
Well, has the pilot also been flying at the same person?
The Tunnock tea cakes have just been allowed back on planes. When I was younger, they weren't allowed on planes because everybody thought they blew up.
Did they have gelignite in them? What back then? Was it like lower food standards?
And one of the ingredients is Semtex.
No, I haven't made that up, have I?
No, you haven't. They've been on the RAF's no-fly list since 1965, when a Tunnock's tea cake on board a nuclear bomber exploded and sprayed marshmallow all over the pilot's cockpit.
Well, they are flying again, and Lindsay Hoyle is the speaker. He's defending going around in private jets and taking a lot of flights. So it's about who's allowed to fly.
Yeah.
I think the Hawk's been captured, so
That's right.
It doesn't fly anymore. Yeah. And pilots, even though they're stressed, they're still flying.
No, they've all been prevented from flying, apart from Sir Lindsay Hoyle, who's been criticised for taking too many first-class flights. According to the Daily Mail, Lindsay Hoyle has billed taxpayers £250,000 for foreign trips in 2 years, including £180,000 on first and business class flights. And it's not just their flights he's enjoyed either. He's been charging for expensive meals and five-star hotels as well. One Freedom of Information request revealed that flights for a 9-day trip to South Africa and St Helena cost the taxpayer £21,300.
Good grief, he sits in the restaurant going, order!
Do you know what the slogan they've come up with for the campaign against him?
Oh.
Just
stop Hoyle.
Yeah. How's he justified his flights?
I like it.
I think he said speakers in other countries have private jets on hand all the time.
He told The Times, "It's about using my power and influence to speak out because it's about speaking truth to power to the Chinese and to Russia," he shouted from South Africa. The RAF have approved Tunnock's tea cakes for flights after a series of rigorous tests in an altitude chamber in Bedfordshire.
Oh, that could be a new thing.
Could be a ride, couldn't it?
Yeah,
Squash a tea cake.
Not ride the Tunnock tea cake, explosive ride.
Should we see what happens to a rapidly decompressed Tunnock's tea cake?
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Stand by for rapid decompression in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now.
Was this by any chance filmed on April the 1st?
Do you want to know who invented the Tunnock's tea cake?
Was it Tunnock?
It is Sir Archibald Boyd Tunnock, who invented the tea cake in 1956. There he is, look. He thought it invented contact lenses, but...
His moustache just looks like he's eating a tea cake really quickly.
And how has the hawk in Flamstead been prevented from flying?
The man who got attacked's wife has caught it.
Yeah, he's been caught and taken in a sinister turn of phrase to undergo retraining. He's gone to live on a farm. Why was a pilot flying from Los Angeles to Shanghai stopped from flying?
Drunk.
No.
Wasn't a pilot.
The plane had to make a U-turn 2 hours into the flight because the pilot didn't have his passport with him. The plane eventually landed at Shanghai's Pudong airport 6 hours late, causing a bit of a ding-dong at Pudong. So they've all been prevented from flying except for Lindsay Hoyle, who's been flying too much. The village of Flamstead in Hertfordshire was left in terror after a spate of hawk attacks. According to the Telegraph, postmen stopped delivering mail and scaffolders left work unfinished. And then the hawk attacks began. The flight from LA to Shanghai was delayed for 6 hours, which irritated and annoyed most of the passengers, although it did give Lindsay Hoyle a chance to enjoy another cocktail and a cucumber face mask. It's time now for the missing words round, and we start with Torval and Dean reveal they are addicted to what? Off you go.
Feels like libel payouts is the ultimate answer.
Licking the ice and making your tongue stick to it.
You're not a million miles away.
Oh, putting other body parts on the ice and making them stick to
it. They're addicted to ice baths. Next, those attending Bournemouth Library's what must sit on a towel?
I know this one, I saw this one. Those attending Bournemouth Library's annual Cack Your Pants for Charity Day... must sit on a towel. It's health and safety. Gone mad.
It's a nude writing workshop.
Ooh.
Next, Emmanuel Macron won't leave the house without wearing what?
A supercilious grin. Wearing out his wife's patience. Wearing out his wife's pants.
It's scent. I read this story. He wears a huge amount of scent.
Cheeky devil.
It's called cologne when it's men. And the answer is an industrial quantity of cologne. According to insiders, Emmanuel Macron wears a lot of aftershave as a way of marking his territory. Donald Trump just pees in the corner. And finally, theatre goers at a Tina Turner musical surprised to discover what?
It's not simply the best. Theatre goers at Tina Turner musical surprised to discover the musical is actually about a man who rotates fish. That's right, a tuna turner.
Tina Turner would not be starring. Tina Turner sadly no longer with us, but the theatre in London felt obliged to offer the following disclaimer. Please note that Tina Turner will not be appearing in this production. And I've also got some bad news for anyone who's got tickets to see Richard III. So the final scores. Ian and Ian have caught up handsomely with 4, but Paul and Helen still smashing it with 5.
Oh, well done.
But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
King Charles is third in line to try a drink that turns you into a bald man wearing glasses.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Ian Smith, Paul Merton and Helen Lewis. And I leave you with news that there's a deflating moment for the King as it's explained that he has nothing to unveil and is simply visiting a curtain factory. At Mar-a-Lago, there are fears that Donald Trump may be sleepwalking again. And there's controversy in the latter stages of the Champions League as Borussia Dortmund introduce a new striker with a unique genetic advantage. Good night.
With guests from David Letterman to Louis Theroux, there's plenty to learn and laugh about in the Adam Buxton podcast, the perfect company no matter what your plans this weekend. Listen now on Sounds.